Welcome to another edition of Live on Tape with Pete Trabucco on WWDB AM 860 Talk Radio, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Beautiful Saturday, of course, just an amazing day. We're just so happy to have you here today. It is the Christmas season, and it's going to be something else. And if you're in Philadelphia, there's so many great places that you can go. The lights are pretty much everywhere, and there's just so much going on here. So just come on out, have some fun. It's a little cold, but we can get through that, and I think it'll be fine. So really something else. Hey, listen, I have got an amazing producer today. I just love this guy. He's just so cool. Sam Whalen is here today. Sam, how you doing?
Doing great, Pete. How are you?
Fantastic. Sam, you're in the right seat today, okay? Now, I do a lot of interviews. I've done a lot of celebrities, and I tell you, it's a lot of fun, and it's okay. But today, it's a real thrill for me today. Because what I have basically, and they've been on our show before, I think it was the beginning of the year when this first started, I had them on the show and they were in studio. This time around, they're all over the place. San Francisco, L.A., Honolulu, Hawaii, and of course, right in good old Jersey, okay? Did I get that right? Is that right, Jersey?
Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay, but did you ever? And I'm sure you did, because it seems like you're into that a lot. Did you ever? Maybe, and you probably didn't see it when it first came out because you probably weren't born. But do you remember a film, the first rock opera, basically, Jesus Christ Superstar, came out in 1973?
So I've never seen it, but I do own the album. I have a vinyl of it. But
do you really?
I've never listened to it, so sorry. But I do own it.
You never listened to it?
No, I inherited my record collection, so there's a lot of stuff in there that I haven't listened to. But
okay, well, listen, then you're going to have to come on. We're going to have to get you over December 9th there, so whatever.
I'll be there.
It's an amazing show, okay? And you have the soundtrack, listen to it. It's absolutely amazing. We've got some really good guests from the show. It is the 50th anniversary of Jesus Christ Superstar, 1973, American musical drama film directed by Norman Jewison and jointly written by so many other people. It's it's part of the rock opera of the same name. And it's just an amazing film. It's one of the first of its kind. And I can tell you, in 1970, I was 11 years old. And I remember going to that movie, and I remember sitting there in amazement. Because, I've seen the old ones, King of Kings and all those other movies that come out around Christmas time, and they're good. But then I ended up seeing this movie and thinking, this is so much better, okay? And it was just absolutely amazing. And what we have here is we have two of the cast members from the show. First of all, we have Jesus Christ himself. He is here, folks, in Philadelphia. We have, of course, Ted Neely. Ted is just an amazing actor who not only did Jesus Christ Superstar, but he's got a laundry list of the things that he's accomplished, including, I believe, he was on Broadway with Hair before then. And it's a funny way how he actually got into the business. We'll talk into that later. I also have one of my favorite singers of all time. In fact, she's just amazing. I've loved her since 1973. Yvonne Elliman is here, and you might remember her. She's had so many top 10 hits, including If I Can't Have You, and of course, Hello Stranger, and of course, I Don't Know How to Love Him, which, well, again, these were top charting hits back in the 70s. And Yvonne ended up doing so much more, including Saturday Night Fever, okay, which was just amazing. So, and I tell you, I played her records on the radio back in the 80s when I first started getting into DJing. And, one of my dreams was, one day I'm going to meet Yvonne. I'm just going to meet her. Okay. Well, she's here. Okay. Yvonne Elliman is here. We're just so happy to have her in the studio. But we also have Frank Muniz. Frank is actually the guy who puts this all together. This 50th anniversary we're talking about, all the places they have been, he put this all together. He is amazing. Does a great job. And he's also got a side job. Maybe we'll talk about that real quick. But the bottom line is he puts this all together. Now, this 50th anniversary has been all over the country. And what they do is they screen it, and there are different sections of it. There's the VIP, the doors open, and then, of course, the event that will follow after that. And I went to it. When it first started in New Jersey, or at least this portion, it was at the Villa Victoria Academy, and I was there for it. In fact, I was just blown away by it. It was just amazing. And now, of course, it's going to be closing pretty much the same place in the Villa Victoria Academy. So it's just an amazing event, and we're just so happy to have Ted here. And, of course, Yvonne, Mary Magdalene's just amazing. I love that song. To this day, it still brings me to tears, okay? So it really does. So I'm just being honest with you. You're an amazing singer. You have always been, and you really fit that role. Just like Ted Neely fit the role perfectly for Jesus Christ. It's just absolutely amazing. It was from heaven that you guys got picked. Okay. And I'm being honest. Okay. So now let's go to Yvonne first, because I know that you've you're in Honolulu, Hawaii. It's a whole different time frame. There's a lot going on there. But tell me something. What was it like? First of all, what was it like to work with Ted? But what was it like to get such a fantastic song under your belt there, and just belt it out, and then you had to act it out, and it was just amazing. I mean, again, most people will go to tears when they hear you sing that. What was that like?
Well, Jeff, first things first. Sam, I want to say, you've never heard it or you've never seen the show, but you might be one of those people that comes in from the cold and watches this movie, and it'll be a life-changing moment where you just can't believe your eyes. You can't express what you feel. You would express the word awesome if you're one of these people that gets moved by it, like I've seen that happen to people, because it really does happen. And it was a miracle how I became part of this thing, because it was just a seed of an idea. I mean, they had started recording it in London, and I was singing in a club called the Pheasantry. Just a girl from Hawaii, they gave me the gig, and so I brought in my guitar, and I just started playing every song I knew, because the guy that was supposed to show up that night, John Hendricks with Hendricks, Lambert, and Ross, which was a jazz trio, they didn't show up, and so the owner said, "Yvonne, get out there and just sing everything you have, everything you know." So I went out there, and I just sang my ASS off, and Andrew Lloyd Webber comes running up to me afterwards, looking like a crazed person, because he had this wild hair like Beethoven. He said, "You're my Mary Magdalene." And I went, "Who?" And I said, "Thank you." And I didn't know what he was talking about. But I thought that was Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, because that's the only thing I learned about, growing up. My mom was Buddhist. My dad was a Christian, although not practicing either of them. But, so I wasn't brought up religiously. I just saw the nativity scene. I thought that was that Mary. So I thought, oh, yeah, anything to get my voice on a vinyl record. That's all I wanted to see was my little squiggly lines along that vinyl. That represented my voice, So I said, sure. He said, "Would you like to come to my flat and I'll play you the song?" So he plays this beautiful song called "I Don't Know How to Love Him." And I thought, whoa, man, a mom's not going to sing that to her son. Come on. So
Yeah.
I said, and so then he said, no, not Mary Magdalene, the whore, So that was back then. As we now know, she wasn't really that at all.
She wasn't.
Yes, exactly. So then I sang the song. I went in, did it one take, boom, and they said, "That's it, we've got it." And I was on this album. So that's how it started. And then they asked me if I wanted the royalties, and I said, "No, I'll take the £100. Thank you."
That's right. If I'm mistaken, you started your singing career in 1969 in London, where you performed at the bars and the clubs. And guess what? I mean, now you want to talk about name dropping here, okay? Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber discovered you, okay?
Yeah.
And that is an amazing story that they put you in the show, which obviously was never done before. Rock operas were never done
it failed
before.
In England. Totally flopped in England.
Did it
they
really?
Put it out there, didn't sell. Yeah, it didn't sell at all. And they put it out in America, and it snowballed into this $12 million. And it was a double album, so it was quite expensive. But people they paid the shekels, and it became a number one hit, and it was huge. And I didn't know what was happening to me. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I was suddenly called over to America to do the concert tour, and so I met some people out there, and I was standing on stage in Pittsburgh, and there's this huge, the Spectrum, I think it was, and all these people. I mean, it was just completely packed, and they're all reaching up towards me and handing me flowers. I'm going, wow, this is crazy. I thought, what have I gotten into here? And and then somebody asked me to come to the hospital to heal their daughter because she'd been in a car accident. So it was just, I was being overwhelmed by this whole thing that was, Jesus Christ Superstar. It's quite remarkable.
But in addition to that, basically you had 5 hits, 3 were in the top 10 singles for that.
5 later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, I was lucky. I was lucky to get involved with Robert Stigwood, who was the guy who discovered Cream, the Bee Gees, and he picked up Jesus Christ Superstar. He saw something in it, and so he's the one that got me to fly to America to do the concert tour. And then he said, we're going to do it on Broadway, so would you like to audition? I said, sure. So I went and I auditioned, and I got the role. And maybe it's because I was on the album originally.
Okay.
But that you're not definitely a shoo-in just because you were on the album, because some other things happened later on for the movie where Murray Head played Judas on the album, the original album.
Yeah.
And he thought, he was an absolute shoo-in for the part of Judas because he sang the role on the record, but he couldn't lip sync to save his life. So he couldn't, he couldn't match his lip syncing to the track, and so he was denied access to that role. And Carl Anderson got it instead, which we're so happy about. He was great.
That's something. In 1977, of course, Saturday Night Fever, you had a #1 hit with If I Can't Have You on the Billboard Hot 100. I remember, I danced to that. I wore the platform shoes and everything, back then.
Angel Flights, right?
This is true. So let's get back to the 50th anniversary. And I want to mention this because I know that Frank is here. There's an event coming up that's not far from here in Philadelphia, folks. Okay? It is really going to be at the Villa Victoria Academy. And it's just an amazing event. And I also got Andy Gardinier here as well, who actually runs that academy. So either one of you, please tell us in the audience the date, the time, and all the things that are going to be happening. It's December 9th. That's only a few days away. So go ahead, guys.
Listen, this is Frank. I'm calling you on this lovely Saturday afternoon here. I'm looking at the Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco, and I think me and you have a little bone to pick tomorrow with our football teams, right? Because my team's over there in Philadelphia, and I think we're going to take you out tomorrow.
Right. Oh, boy.
What do you think about that?
I think she's just laughing too much for that. So.
I love it. I know who I'm going for.
So anyway.
So listen, Pete.
Yes.
Going back to this, we started the 50th anniversary tour in January at the Villa Victoria, and it was such a great event.
And I was there.
You were. Well, listen, if it wasn't for you, I don't think it would have been that successful.
Was I there?
Since you weren't there actually, Yvonne, but this time you will be, and that's why it's going to be extra special. It was so great that we decided, how do we end the tour that has gone on this entire year? We've been West Coast. We've been up north. We've been in Florida. And a great way to end it is where we started it. So that's in Ewan, New Jersey. It's an amazing venue. And if you are a Jesus Christ Superstar fan, this is the perfect place to go. This is everything you wanted. You're going to have 4 of the cast members of the film there for the first time, reuniting for the first time in 8 years. The last time we did this was in New York City, where we had the entire cast reunion with the director Norman Jewison there in attendance as well.
Yes.
So that was 8 years ago. And this is the first time that these 4 cast members will be in the same room together since then. So it's going to be a great night. There's going to be a bunch of Superstar memorabilia and 50th anniversary shirts and lots of cool, just a bunch of cool stuff. If you're a fan, this is the place to go. And listen, celebrate the holidays early. It's December 9th at the Villa Victoria in Ewing, New Jersey, which is right up the road from Philly. The VIP reception, which is only limited to 20 folks. You get there at 4:30. You get to hang for 90 minutes with the cast, autographs, photographs, the whole 9 yards. You don't have to stand in line, and you get to choose your seat where to watch. And there's some really lucky fans that will actually be sitting alongside Ted and Yvonne and Bob Bingham and Kurt Yodgen during the movie.
And me,
So you
right?
can actually-
And me, right?
you can-
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on somebody's lap. I know that. Okay, I'm not sure who yet.
Well, if the Niners beat the Eagles, you'll be sitting on my lap. But those folks, well, you can get literally running. It's the best ticket out of this whole event. You actually get to hear commentary from the cast themselves as the movie is running.
Okay.
And there's going to be some surprises. Get there early. We are going to be showing some great video surprises on the big screen beforehand. Listen, it's an event. So if you can make it, go to tedneely.com to get your general admission tickets. And the last I saw, there was about 6 or 7 VIP tickets left.
That's it.
So that's it as far as that. But you can go to tedneely.com right now and reserve your seats. And Andy, I'll switch it over to you, and you can tell them more about your
Well,
venue.
before you do that, we have to go to a break, so we'll go to the break, and we'll come back with Andy. You're listening to
Hang
Live
tight,
on
Andy.
Tape with Pete Trabucco, and we'll be back right after this. Each year, 5,000 people, including children, choke to death. LifeVac can stop these senseless tragedies. It's so easy to use also. Simply place the mask over face, push, and pull. You'll never regret having a LifeVac in your home or office. Please visit lifevac.net today to protect you and your loved ones. Or you can call them at 877-LIFEVAC. That's 877-LifeVac.
I had an important job, and it wasn't just a job, it was keeping my brothers and sisters safe. And coming back, it felt like kind of thrown away. If it hadn't been for Wounded Warrior Project, I honestly don't know if I would be here. It was like, I got my family back again. We all felt the connection, like that brother and sisterhood.
See how Wounded Warrior Project empowers women veterans like Donna by visiting woundedwarriorproject.org/empowerwomenvets.
And welcome back to Live on Tape with Pete Trabucco on WWDB AM 860 Talk Radio Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. And we are a Beasley Media Group station. I've got such great guests here today. For those of you
Can I
that...
ask you a question?
Sure. What's the question? That, by the way, that's Yvonne Elliman that's asking that question. So I'm going to have to go on my knees here and say, I am not worthy. I am not worthy. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Do you say villa, not via? So it's not European via Victoria. You know what I mean? It's villa, huh? Villa.
It is Villa.
What is it?
Yes.
Yes.
What kind of academy?
Villa Victoria Academy. This is Andy Gordon here, by the way.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Andy.
Hi, how are you? Villa Victoria Academy is a private Catholic school that is celebrating 90 years this year. So, you know, we've been saying we've got 2 great anniversaries happening this year, the 90th of our school and the 50th of Jesus Christ Superstar. And we are thrilled beyond belief to have you guys all coming back. We had such a great time in January kicking this thing off, and I reached out to Frank and I was like, look, you guys want some date, why don't we end it here? This is where you guys started, let's end it here, and we're just thrilled beyond belief to have you guys coming. And one quick thing I want to inject on about the lovely Yvonne Elliman is that something so super special about her is she is one of the 2 people who, and the other is the late Barry Denon, who not only did the original Brown concept album, went on to do the Broadway production, and then went on to the film.
Wow.
So they did all 3 incarnations of Jesus Christ Superstar. And so it is so super special to have her joining us.
Absolutely. It is great. And again, that event is going to be December 9th at the Villa Victoria Academy. That's in Ewing. You can actually go on the website. We'll talk about that in a second. But someone's been quiet here. Jesus Christ has been quiet here. Okay. So now we got to talk. We've already talked to Mary Magdalene. We've already talked with Yvonne Elliman, and just an amazing 50th anniversary of the show, Jesus Christ Superstar. But Ted Neely is Jesus Christ, in my mind. If you look at him, he looks just like Jesus Christ. And Ted, man, I tell you, what was it like working with Yvonne? And Yvonne, what was it like working with Ted in the show?
Can we both talk at the same time? That would be good.
Go ahead, Ted. It's your turn. It's your turn, Ted.
Okay, I got to tell you, it was absolutely magnificent. There was never one moment of any day that we did the film that we weren't having a wonderful time. And every time that Yvonne and I have done things together, it's incredible. We've done concerts. It's just, she's outrageous, and everybody loves her just like you do. And the audiences go berserk when she comes up to sing and do that. So what I'm saying is I feel, and I have felt since 1972, when we spent all that wonderful time in Israel.
Oh, yeah.
I am the luckiest man alive that I got to be in that group.
That's
Literally.
right.
I mean, like you said, Yvonne and Barry did the thing on the original album, and I hadn't even done any theater. I'm a screaming rock and roll drummer from Texas, but Norman Jewison, bless his heart, wanted to have as many people from the album as possible. And he wanted to have people that he knew he could work with. And he was originally doing screen tests with the major film actors and actresses, marquee people.
Yeah.
Because he had worked, with all the studios for years. And whenever he got his concept together, he presented it to all those folks he had worked at all the studios. And all of them said, Norman, this is not going to work. Nobody wants to see a rock opera, and especially not if it's about religion. It's not going to work. And Norman said, I'm going to make you see the difference. He did it all himself, everything.
And
so
that's right.
he chose once he was doing those screen tests, and I have to thank not only Yvonne but also the late Barry Denon. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been in it. Carl, I, either one would have been in it, because Norman was doing those casting with the great people, and Barry had done Fiddler on the Roof with Norman prior, so they became friends. And Barry called him one day to see how the screen tests were going, and he said, it's going great. The actors are incredible, but I'm really having a hard time finding people who can sing these songs. And Barry went, can I make a suggestion? And he said, I got two buddies that I've worked with that did this thing on Broadway and on tours, and he says they're great, and I think you should give them an opportunity. He said, you may hate them, but give them a shot. And he did. That's how and then once we did our screen test with him, he decided, wow, now that's something.
Yeah.
Seeing these two guys that nobody knows, maybe they might think it's more like the real person. So he said, everybody is unknown.
That's true.
Everybody except Yvonne and Barry were unknown, and Josh Mostel.
Well,
that's why I'm saying I'm the luckiest man alive, because I got cast.
Well, the funny thing is this. Yvonne started out in her career. She has a fantastic voice. She's a singer. That's what she's known for. You were a drummer in Texas, and from what I understand, the story is that you went with some friends for an audition. You just went to see what they were doing. And the bottom line is, they didn't get the part. They didn't get the chance. You go up. You're not even practiced, because you didn't even know they were going to call you up on stage. And you go on stage and you blow everybody away. The other people didn't get anything, and you end up getting what was hair, right? Was that what you got?
Yes.
And that was
the lead role, Claude Hooper Bukowski.
That's right, on Broadway. And
yeah,
that's an amazing story for anybody out there. And this is for those people like myself who basically would love to take a chance with doing. I mean, I do off Broadway, but I don't do anything on Broadway. I've never done it.
Yeah,
you get a guy like Ted, man. And I heard that you actually and Yvonne, you probably talk about this as well. But he has such a vocal range. Ted did. Vocal range up and down. Oh my goodness. And it was silent. Nobody knew about it.
No. No, he blew him away on Broadway. He got to do the understudy role when the lead was sick. And Teddy came in there. He just brought the house down. I mean, not many people can sing that note, those notes way up there.
Oh, yeah.
And Teddy can still. Yeah, amazing. Tremendous voice. And his presence. I'm not just talking about that voice, which is amazing in itself, but his presence, his ability to go with the fans and talk with them for hour upon hour after a show. He will sit out there and answer everybody's question, to the last person standing in line for hours, and he's the last one to leave. And he has that humility and all the great virtues that you'd expect someone to play the role of Jesus to have, And he does it, man. He just does a great. He's wonderful, the best.
Well, you're both wonderful. And I tell you, the chemistry, and again, we're talking about Jesus Christ Superstar, the 50th anniversary. We're talking about the chemistry between you, Yvonne Elliman, and, of course, Ted Neely. And the chemistry was just amazing between both of you in the scenes that you were together. And I know that we talked about this earlier, Ted, when I interviewed you earlier, and that you were actually in Israel and what that must have felt like for both of you. In fact, everybody that was involved, all the cast members, of what it's actually like to be in the Holy Land and actually walking in the steps of the people that you're actually portraying. What was that like?
Yvonne, tell you it, darling.
Magical, absolutely magical. It was the kind of thing you just can't even really comprehend, because it's so. How can you touch that? You know, it's so far out there that you just went to work and you did the work. You know, I was on stage with Ted in Italy, and there was this one moment where after the lepers leave him and he's lying down, and I looked at him and I was overcome with this incredible emotion of just being so moved by what this man had to go through. And it's the first time I really felt it to that extent, where I had to sing I didn't know how to love him right after that, and I was choked up to the point where I couldn't hit the note. I was like, I don't know how to. And you can't cry. I mean, you can't sing when you cry. You try. It's impossible. And so, but I was so moved. The tears were coming, and wow. I mean, I really felt the feeling, and that's kind of how we felt when we were in Israel. You know, walking the walk down through the where he walked the cross. Where was that? Where was that? Where he walked with the cross?
Dead Sea.
Dead Sea. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I remember being in the Dead Sea and lying on my back reading a newspaper, crossing my legs.
That was funny. Well, you know, looking at this, 1974, you were nominated a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Motion Picture. Okay, so I'm looking at that. That's pretty impressive as well.
No, when you're singing, you're acting, and if you're feeling the lyric, you're acting. I did a Hawaii Five-0 where I had to actually act and say lines. I thought I was dreadful. I had to run out of the room when it came on TV. I thought, oh no, and you know, acting is a whole different thing. When you sing a song and you're acting it out, that's opera. So yeah, I can do okay on that. But ask me to act. I did this thing called Cop Rock, where I had to audition.
I remember that. I remember that show.
Turned down, yeah.
Well. Believe me, if you had gotten that role, it would not have been a career builder. Okay, I don't think anybody that did Cop Rock actually made it after that show. Yeah. But we are talking about a 50th anniversary of one of the best shows, one of the first rock operas, Jesus Christ Superstar, actually filmed in Israel with Ted Neely as Jesus Christ. And I'm telling you, every time I look at Ted, your mannerisms and the way you look and the way you talk and everything. If Jesus Christ were alive today, he'd look just like you and sound just like you. And then Yvonne, yeah, that's true. And Yvonne Elliman, amazing job for the song. It's done so well. Your career has skyrocketed, and now you're in beautiful Hawaii while we're stuck in Philadelphia. Okay, with the I've been there. I've been there twice. I love it. I didn't want to come back home. I was in all, I just loved Honolulu, but I also loved Maui and the Big Island and a few of the others. And I'll tell you, it's just amazing to be in that area. So anyway, get back, and I want to get back to when the show is. Obviously, you've doing it since January. It is the 50th anniversary of Jesus Christ Superstar. And I'm going to ask either Andy or Frank to talk about when it is, and what you're going to get if you go to this show and where to find it. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, so we have 2 more shows left on this tour. And there's one on December the 6th in New Brunswick, New Jersey, at the New Brunswick Center of the Performing Arts. And then the final one, the ending point of this 50th anniversary tour is at the Villa Victoria Academy, Ewing, New Jersey. That's where we started the tour back in January. And I want to mention one thing for everybody who's seen the film and has a copy on DVD or VHS. Or this is a brand new print. It's a remastered print that was taken from the original 70 millimeter tapes and remastered in Europe. and it is the most pristine print you will see of this film. And the only place you can see it is on tour with us. So for those of you who've seen the movie a dozen times or watch it every Easter or Christmas, this will be a special treat for you. So it's the Villa Victoria Academy date is December the 9th. It's a Saturday. The VIP reception starts at 4:30, and that's just a handful of fans who come in and get to hang with the cast for 90 minutes without the public. The doors are not open to the public. You get autographs, photographs. You get first crack at the merchandise. You get to pick your own seat, and some of the platinum VIPs will actually be sitting alongside either Yvonne or Ted or Bob Bingham or Kurt Yadgin and watch the film with them. So it's really a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And the doors then open at 6 o'clock, and the event actually starts at 7. And then afterwards, everybody who has a general admission ticket has a chance to say hello and meet the cast. Now, obviously, that's going to be, so far, Andy, I think we're at about 500, 600 tickets sold.
Right.
So there's going to be a line afterwards. But if you guys can be patient, you will be able to say hello and give Ted a hug and Yvonne a hug and say hello. And it's a great time for any superstar fan.
Sounds good.
Can
Sounds
people
good.
sing like their pom fronds? Can they dress up in togas or whatever they want to wear? And because people sing along with the music too, can they bring props? Well,
listen. It's not a. In the past, we've done tours where we do costume contests and stuff, but everybody's more than welcome. I guess it's going to be a little nippy out there, but I don't know about a toga in 30-degree weather, but. If you are so inclined, we have fans who show up dressed as Pilate, dressed as Jesus. We had a whole group of ladies remember this, Yvonne, in Phoenix, show up all dressed like you, like Mary Magdalene.
Yeah,
we had photos. So, I mean, everybody's invited. It's all good. Have fun with it. And listen, you can sing along, too. It's not a proper sing-along, but you are more than welcome to sing along with the entire crowd if you so desire.
That's right.
So it's a fun time for everybody. It's a great event, and we hope to see everybody in the Philly area out there. It's right up the road in Ewing, New Jersey. And Andy, you want to add anything to that?
Well, how about we take a break before we go to that, because we have to take a break, and we'll be back with Live on Tape with Pete Trabucco right after this. Each year, 5,000 people, including children, choke to death. LifeVac can stop these senseless tragedies. It's so easy to use also. Simply place the mask over face, push, and pull. You'll never regret having a LifeVac in your home or office. Please visit lifevac.net today to protect you and your loved ones. Or you can call them at 877-LIFEVAC. That's 877-LIFEVAC.
I'm Ben Affleck, and I want to thank you for joining me and supporting Paralyzed Veterans of America.
I joined the Navy to serve my country. While parachuting with my platoon, my parachute didn't open, and I broke my neck.
Thanks to PVA, paralyzed veterans are getting specialized medical care and treatments, the jobs they want, and the accessible vehicles and homes they need.
I just don't think my family would be as happy as they are without the support that I received from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Learn more at pva.org.
And we're back to Live on Tape with Pete Trabucco on WWDB AM 860 Talk Radio, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. And we've got some really great guests. For those of you that are just joining in, well, it is the 50th anniversary of Jesus Christ Superstar. And I believe I had some of these guests on back in January when they first started this national run. And they're actually back at the Villa Victoria Academy in Ewing on December 9th. It's a great show. This is a lot of fun. And you get to meet some of the characters. There are 4 characters, which, by the way, have never been together in many, many years. But we also got Ted Neely, who plays Jesus Christ, and, of course, Yvonne Elliman. We all know Yvonne from the 70s and the 80s with the music and all the top hits. She played Mary Magdalene. Plus, we've got Andy Gardiner, who, of course, the Village Academy is just an amazing place. If you've never been there, Andy runs that. And Frank Muniz. And Frank is a very honest and he's a nice guy, but he doesn't really brag. But Frank puts all this together. Frank is the guy, man. He's the guy. Plus, Frank, you also do something else, too, on the side. You want to tell people about that real quick if you want to? I'd love you to hear, them to hear what you do on the side here, as well as handle all this.
Well, I mean, look, Jesus Christ Superstar Tour, we've been doing this with Ted and Yvonne for 10 years now. We started these tours where we go and meet the fans and we play the film, and we've done concerts before. We started on the 40th anniversary. So 10 years later, now we're at the 50th anniversary. I grew up with Jesus Christ Superstar. The first record I owned, I had to steal it from my sister, but the first record I owned in my life was the soundtrack to Jesus Christ Superstar. Before I got into Kiss and Queen and AC/DC, it was Jesus Christ Superstar. So it's very special to me. But on the side, just to make a little extra couple of dollars so I can keep the heat on in my house, I work for this small little band out of San Francisco here called Metallica, and I've been with them for about 27 years.
Wow.
And hopefully this year we'll finally make it in the big time. So please say a prayer, a little prayer for people who actually know us, and we can actually get out there and actually make a living out of this thing, as they say in the music business. So that's what I've been doing. And the funny thing is, as soon as I'm done in Ewing, New Jersey on December the 9th, I hop on a plane back to San Francisco, and then I hop on a plane to Saudi Arabia to do a Metallica show on December 14th. So it's just a little hop and a jump. It's no big deal. It's kind of like going from New Jersey to Connecticut, but, I'll be fine. And if everybody wants to just come out, Ewing, New Jersey, if you want your tickets, I didn't say this last time before we went to your break, you go to tedneely.com, and that's Neeley. A lot of folks forget that final E, right, Ted? Go to tedneely.com. You can get the links to get your tickets for December 9th, and get them now. If you reserve them, they'll be at the door. You just walk right in. It's, we're hoping this thing will sell out. That's what we're expecting, and we're very close to it. Yeah. So that's how you do it.
That's something else. And I will definitely be there. I can guarantee I will definitely be there. And if Yvonne, I'm going to have my wife with me, so I'm going to have to, just play it cool, okay? I just to let you know.
See, as a radio host, your mind is very good. I mean, you're fast. You remember things. Your memory is good. It must be a great thing, as you're aging, to be a radio host, because look at all the good stuff you get to do with your brain. I'm impressed. You're really good at it.
Well, thank you so much. And guess what? You're a very good singer. How's that? All right. But here's a question I have for both of you. Okay, you guys played the parts. Now, Ted, I'm going to ask it for you, and then I'm going to ask for Yvonne. Ted, did you ever think when you first did this, okay, back in 1970s, and you got paid for it, you're in Israel, you came back home, it was a rock opera, people said it's not going to work. Did you ever think you'd make 50 years and it'd be as popular now as it was back then?
Absolutely not. We didn't even know the film was going to be released because of the way the studios reacted to Norman Norman Jewison when he said he was going to do it. They told him that nobody wants to see a rock opera, especially if it's about a religion. But the bottom line is, it is still famous and still being shown, and in live productions around the world all the time. So no, I had no idea. I was standing there in the desert and worshiping the ground I was walking on, literally, and none of us did. And Norman, bless his heart, he didn't know if they were going to ever get it released. So bottom line, this is the biggest surprise and most wonderful experience I've had in my entire life in this business. And I am the luckiest man alive that got to get to do that.
Thank you. How about you, Yvonne?
You know, Pete, well, before you get to Yvonne, Pete, I just want to, Ted doesn't like to toot his own horn, but, when John Legend did the Jesus Christ Superstar reboot on NBC a few years ago, Ted sent out a tweet to John like, hey, best of luck on this and everything. John responded with, Ted, you were the blueprint for this role, sir. So, that's how much influence Ted has.
Wow.
This is his role. So this is his part. And those who have come later literally look at his role and how he did it and the emotions and everything. So, it's really a big deal, and it's still a big deal to this day because there are new fans and new generations. We have folks coming out who were there at Broadway in the early 70s, and we have kids showing up who have never even seen the movie. And afterwards they walk out and they're starstruck. And, maybe before the film they didn't know who Ted was, but they sure do after they see the movie.
That is something else. How about you?
Thank you, Frank. That's very nice, man.
How about you, Yvonne?
Yeah, well, no, I had no idea it was going to be as accepted as it was. Even Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber, there are naysayers, doubting Thomases that come along and they say, I don't know, because they don't know how to 100% put themselves into it because they're not sure. Religion is a funny thing. Although we're not selling religion, we're selling the life of a man, and that's it. And what an incredible man he was. And so, when Tim and Andrew were, we don't know for sure, they put it out, and of course it was huge because of the subject for one, and the talent was great. And Norman Jewison was an amazing director. He really took it to a degree where people didn't expect that at all. And so it was that fascination with the old and the new, and then the fact that we were in Israel. It was magical. It was, and so I think it'll be going on way after we're gone. I think it's going to be carrying on for a long, long time. So people don't forget about these roles. Everybody who's 3 years old now can be Mary Magdalene one day when they're 20 or 19. It's going to be around, I think.
and I think you're right on that. And, it's funny. I think it was Andy that mentioned that people get dressed up and they sing along. When I went in January, I want to let you know that people were singing along with Ted and with all the actors, basically. And they were wearing costumes. In fact, one day, the day I was there was a group that actually performed it. And they were performing. They stood up during the certain scenes and started singing along with the movie, which I thought was extremely moving, if you recall.
Yes. All kinds of schools, even grade schools, they will put on the production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Go figure. How they do it is remarkable. I don't know, but when they're inspired, you can do things,
Yeah, that's something else. So, Ted, let's get back to you again, okay? Because Ted, I tell you, you had something happened while you were there on set, okay? Yes, you didn't think I'd bring that up now, did you? Well, guess what? I'm bringing it up, okay? And that is, you were just hanging out there, playing Jesus Christ, having a good time, and there was a young lady there who really wanted to meet Jesus Christ, I think, because what happened was you ended up, I don't know, and I've seen her in the movie. She stands out, your wife.
She sure does.
How did that happen?
It was a gift from God. Honestly, she's from the National Ballet of Canada in Toronto, ballerina who danced with Baryshnikov and Nureyev and all those people while she was there. And the bottom line is she could do everything. Now, I had no experience in film or anything except screaming drummers. So what's the chances that our paths would ever have crossed had we not both been cast in that film? So this film gave me my wife. It gave us our family. It gave us our lives together. It's just unbelievable.
What was it like? You saw her, she saw you, kind of thing. You locked eyes, and it was like, like hot at that point. How did it happen? Tell me.
it just literally, I was watching everybody whenever I wasn't in front of the camera, and I liked talking with everybody. There were just something special that stood out about Leanne. Not only the fact she was beautiful, but she was so talented as a dancer, and everybody loved her. And I couldn't walk away without saying, "Hi, want to go have lunch?"
Well, listen, Yvonne, basically, when you look Jesus Christ in the eyes, I mean, you're going to fall in love. It's just how it works out. You know what I mean? I mean, there's no ands, if, or buts. So we'll be back with Live on Tape right after this. Each year, 5,000 people, including children, choke to death. LifeVac can stop these senseless tragedies. It's so easy to use also. Simply place the mask over face, push, and pull. You'll never regret having a LifeVac in your home or office. Please visit lifevac.net today to protect you and your loved ones. Or you can call them at 877-LIFEVAC. That's 877-LifeVac.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And we're back with Live on Tape with Pete Trabucco on WWDB AM 860 Talk Radio Philadelphia. And we've got some really great guests today. For those of you that were not, I guess, living under a rock, you probably don't know this, but for the last year, since January, there has been a 50th anniversary for Jesus Christ Superstar. And in January on this show, we had Ted Neely on, as well as Andy and Frank, to talk about the show. It just started the run nationally. And now we come to the time, like Carol Burnett, where we have to say goodbye, unfortunately. So,
can I tell one story?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Story? There was that thing that happened for a while where it was thought that Jesus and Mary Magdalene ended up in France and that they had a child. And I thought, wow, this is interesting because my grandma was French. And so she was supposed to come over on the Titanic with her family when she was a small girl, but they decided to stay because there was a party being thrown for them. And so they sold their tickets, and so they didn't go on the Titanic. And I thought, thank goodness, because I might not be here today. But then I found out, at the old age of 60, I found out that my father was actually left in a shoebox on someone's doorstep as a tiny, preemie baby. And it was at her doorstep that he was left. This is the woman from France. And so she became his mama. And so I thought, this is my grandma for years. But then I realized, no, he was left on a doorstep, so he was adopted. So there blew that fantasy of mine. I couldn't think that maybe I was possibly related to Jesus and Mary, So, but I was named Yvonne, a French name, so I have that connection. That's about it.
Well, that's
about it.
Well, that's a good story. That's a good story. So, Andy, I have a question for you. Okay.
Sure.
Now, we picked out a really nice theater. Guys, again, it's going to be, and gals, it's going to be December 9th at the Villa Victoria Academy, Jesus Christ Superstar. It is amazing. I suggest you get there. Doors open at 6, event at 7. If you're VIP, and there's only a few left, that's going to be at 4:30. Now, how did you get to Andy? And Andy, how did you get to Frank? And how did this whole happen that you started it here? There's got to be a story there somewhere. Go ahead.
Okay, well, for me, and I'll make this fast, Superstar has been inbred in me since I was a kid. I was fortunate enough to see Ted and Yvonne in the original Broadway production that was brilliantly directed by Tom O'Horgan. And so for me, I have followed Superstar as a fan for years. And when COVID hit and I knew that all these screenings and everything got shut down, and then I saw things were opening up again. So I reached out. I actually reached out to Ted on Facebook, who got back to me and said, get a hold of this guy, Frank. and so I got a hold of him with Frank, and from there we were able to set this thing up, and we got these guys out, and it was fabulous, and we had a wonderful time, and we're gonna have a wonderful time again. So please come out, and don't forget, it's Bob Bingham and Kurt Yadjin will be there as well, which is Caiaphas and Annas. So
Yes.
look, you've got the powerhouse group here from that original film.
Well, thank you. And Andy, this is going to be a plug for Villa Victoria Academy. Please tell people about that academy and what you've been doing there. It's a great theater and it's a great program. So if you got just a minute or two, tell us about the academy.
Sure. All right. The Academy, like I say, is celebrating 90 years this year. It is run by the Sisters Filippini, who is their patron saint is Lucy Filippini, and it is a 6 through 12. So it's grade 6 through 12 girls' school, and it is a wonderful academy. I will tell you very quickly that 100% of our seniors get college acceptances, and that we easily hit $3 to $4 million in scholarships for all of our seniors every year. And so it's a great education. The cultural arts is never ending over there, between things like this, the Jesus Christ Superstar, our Christmas concert, which is a few days later. It's December 12th, and everybody's welcome to come to that. So Ted, Yvonne, if you want to hang out for a few days, come on back.
That's great. So,
wow. The theater.
Well, I tell you one, believe me, I don't know, Yvonne, if you've not been there yet, it's a beautiful theater. They do a great job with that. And like I said, the last time I was there, in fact, it was kind of hard to hear the movie because everybody was singing. And I was like, we sort of stayed in the middle there. So we wanted to stay in the middle. And I was like, at times, Ted, we couldn't hear you. Because everybody was singing over you, Yvonne. Everybody was singing over you, and there were people crying when you were singing that song. I don't know how to love you. It was a religious experience, even though it's not really that much of a religious movie. It was a religious experience, and folks, people out there, it is again going to be December 9th, the Villa Victoria Academy. That's going to be at 7 p.m., and that is in Ewing, New Jersey. Although some places say it's Camden. I don't know why they do that. But it's definitely Ewing, New Jersey. And I'm going to put Frank on because Frank knows all the details on everything. So, Frank, why don't you give us a little bit about the stuff that went, and of course, the actual websites, too, as well. So go ahead, Frank. You take it home for us.
Like I said, all Superstar fans, if you are a fan, this is the place to be. You get to see the stars of the film. You get to watch the remastered print of the movie, plus some surprises that we do right beforehand. We bring the cast out. They tell some stories. They interact with each other. It's a really, really once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it's a great way to end it. To get your tickets, the best thing to do is to reserve your tickets now instead of there'll be tickets at the door, but if they sell out, there won't be. I mean, it's a seated theater. So you go to tedneely.com and you go to the dates right there. You'll see where you can purchase either a VIP ticket, which the VIP reception starts at 4:30. Last I looked, now there's only 6 tickets left for that. And then, or you can get your general admission ticket. You come on in, doors are at 6 o'clock, and everybody will get to meet the cast. You may have to stand in line a little bit, but that's okay. And it's a great time for everybody. December 9th, Villa Victoria. What's that?
Go ahead, Yvonne.
You said there's surprises, but then you told what the surprise was. It's not going to be a surprise.
I didn't say what the surprises are going to be on the screen for folks to see, and we're not going to tell them what it's going to be. It's going to be a surprise. You don't even know what it's going to be.
No.
But it'll be some cool stuff. I mean, like I said, for anybody who is a fan, bring your aunt, bring your mom, bring your grandma. I mean, if they don't know about it, if they're not on social media or not listening to to this program, tell them about it, because I'm telling you, it's a multi-generational crowd that comes out. There's, grandmas bring their grandkids, and they all love it, and it really is a great experience.
And folks, it's not that far away either. I mean, we're in Philadelphia right now. I mean, we're talking Ewing is extremely close. It's not far to go and to see the 50th anniversary. And this is it. This is the last time. You know, it's been a year since they started this thing. And listen, Sam has been quiet over here. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Only incredible things hang around for 50 years for people
That's right.
who want to see it. You know?
Absolutely.
That's right.
And this is Andy. This is Andy. Real quick, one more thing talking about special surprises. I have pulled together out of my personal collection some amazing superstar memorabilia that will be on display, including something directly from the film, which is super rare, and you don't get a chance to see something like that, but it will be there in Villa Victoria.
Oh.
Looking forward to it.
You can't beat that. Where do I get my tickets?
No, we can't. And I'm going to be sitting on somebody's lap over here, so that's going to be fun for me. Now, Sam has been here. Sam's like, wow, this is pretty incredible. Sam, did we change your mind about not playing the I think we changed your mind about actually seeing the movie.
You did. I want to watch it now. I like Broadway. I've just never seen this one. So.
This was the first rock opera. This started everything. This started Les Mis and all the shows that you see now in that format. This started it.
I got to check it out.
Okay. So fantastic. Well, listen, guys, I just want to say thank you, Ted. I love you. Yvonne.
Oh, thank you.
Yvonne, I've loved you since 1973. Okay. And that's not changing ever. Okay.
Well,
thank you.
To meeting you.
I look forward to meeting you. And thank you for the music, because you are just an incredible artist. You are just amazing. Andy, I want to thank you for having a place to show this in the beginning. And now at the end, it's appropriate that it goes back to your location at the Villa Victoria Academy.
It is my honor.
And Frank, without you, none of this works.
It wouldn't happen.
None of this works. So on behalf of myself and Sam, thank you so much. And we'll be back again next week with Live on Tape. Have a great holiday season, folks. We'll talk to you soon.